Hi, my name's Kate, this is The Little Library Kitchen, and today I am cooking clam chowder from Moby Dick by Herman Melville. I first tried to read Moby Dick when I was at secondary school because I was like, Moby Dick, that's a book I should be reading. It's definitely a book that I should be reading. And I kind of got half a chapter in and was like, the thing is, I could not read this now and I could reread another book. But just before I moved to the UK, I'd found this list of sort of 100 books you need to read before you die, one of those sort of lists. And I promised myself that I was going to read them all by the time I was 30. I'm now 30, I almost made it. I did not read the entire Bible, I have to admit. But in my mid-20s, I did finally read Moby Dick and went, actually, this is really good. I totally understand why this is what it is and appreciated it for its length and description and richness and all that it wants to be, and talk about sort of ambition and madness and sort of obsession, and why those things are fascinating in people and why they are so interesting in all of us. Moby Dick is, it's a book about a whale, but mostly I think it's definitely a book about clam chowder. There's a chapter about midway through the book where the entire point of the chapter and all of the information contained in that chapter is essentially, let's go sit in this hut and eat clam chowder served to us by this woman who makes really good clam chowder. There's so much detail of all the ingredients that are in this clam chowder and how this woman who makes it and serves it does create it. It is one of the most memorable and clearest representations of food in literature. I think it's an amazing moment. And in a book where, look, I think Moby Dick's an amazing work of fiction, but sometimes it drags a bit. I think it provides a very welcome relief from the waves and the boat. Clams are one of my absolute favourite things. They are so sweet and delicious. They're not very cheap, so it's generally quite a treat to make something with clams. Vongole is one of my absolute favourite things to make in summer, with really beautiful sort of slices of chili and a good splash of white wine. But in winter, it's clam chowder that I want. As with all dishes with shellfish, I'm going to say as with all dishes with bivalves, because it's not even a shellfish. As with all dishes with bivalves, essentially what we need to do is steam the clams to get them open, and then pick all of the little bits of meat out. We then fry off pancetta, onion, cook the potato down in the clam stock, and then add bits of cream and lovely bits of flavour, and also tip all the clams back in at the end. You want something that tastes like the sea and really sweet to burst in amongst all of this sort of lovely warm broth. Because, as I said, clams are quite expensive, I think this is dinner for one. I think this is something you should eat on your own. It doesn't take too long. It's not a fussy dish. It's not a tricky dish either, but I think it's something to make because you want to make a really lovely special dinner for yourself. And I think you should eat it not at a dining table. I think you should eat it on the sofa underneath a blanket in the middle of winter, because it is that calming and warming and comforting.